Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Homegirl Tuesdays at 10. I'm the Homegirl Sherrell Wright, and I'm here to bring you your Tuesday at 10 segment. We are in the first Tuesday, y'all, of the last month of 2024. So crazy how fast this year has flown by. We've seen so many different changes in real estate this year, and it's going to keep changing. But now, what I'm reading in the news and seeing is that not like the ABC News, but like Yahoo Finance and Realtor.com. Those are my sources I kind of go to for information. And I encourage you to do the same, right? Because a savvy buyer is a great buyer and you will have a great experience. But from what I'm seeing on these websites is that the market is forecasted to change. We're going to start to see interest rates trickle down little by little. And with that, there's going to be an influx of buyers. So if you have been a buyer who has been waiting on the sideline to jump into the market to start shopping, I'm here to bring you some segments again that you can easily digest to help make your home buying journey perfect for you and a great experience for you. Okay, so on my previous post, I have always been a proponent of vetting your realtor. So what does that mean? That means that you take the time and actually get to know your realtor. You kind of go through a process of interviewing them. And there is nothing wrong with that because a good realtor will be okay with and confident realtor will be okay with you going through that and you actually interviewing them to make sure that y'all are the good fit for one another. Because trust me, sometimes these transactions get wonky, sometimes they get challenging, and you want to make sure that you're in partnership with someone who's going to hold your hand through that process. So how do you vet your realtor? Well, you may have a few that you want to work with. You may have a family member. There's so many realtors out there, right? We're all over social media giving out information and making our presence be known. So how do you vet your realtor? I will say that just because someone has a big name or a big following doesn't mean that they always fit your personality type. You want to make sure that the person that you're considering is actually going to be able to take care of your needs and accommodate your needs in a very particular way that suits you. Also, you may want to start off by asking them, why did they choose to get into real estate? That's a really big question. I have worked with agents and you can clearly tell that they're there for the commission, which we're all here to get paid. We have to make a living, right? But you don't want someone who's just there for the check or the glam or the glitz. You want someone who's going to literally roll up their sleeves and go to work for you. So ask them, why did you choose real estate? Well, my personal story is it pulled at my heart for 2 years before I even took the class. It would not leave me alone. So I know that this is my heart's choice, my soul's choice to be in this industry. But that's just my answer. Secondly, you want to know why should you work with them? What's their key selling points? What do they have to offer you? What are they like? What can they sell you about themselves before they sell you a home? What can they tell you about themselves that's going to make you feel comfortable and confident in their abilities to help you on your home buying journey? Next, you want to ask them, what is their process like? What do they do to help you find the perfect home? Do they set you up on a CRM? Are they asking you certain questions? Ask them that question and you will see as they're answering if that works for you. Again, this is your experience. You are in control. We as the realtors, we partner with you. We facilitate, but you're ultimately in control because you're the one that's making the purchase. So you again want to make sure that you understand what a realtor's process is and that you're comfortable with it. Next, you want to know if they are able to articulate the things that could go wrong. That's something I'm big on telling my buyers and my sellers that, hey, this is the deal, this could happen, X, Y, and Z. When you put this down, you may not get your earnest money back for X, Y, and Z reasons, or the home like appraised low, so on and so forth. So I am big on giving out the information of what could go wrong up front. Not saying that we plan for things to go wrong, but in real estate, things happen, which leads me to my next point. Do they know how many people are involved in the transaction? Because there's so many people involved in the transaction, that leaves room for error. Real estate is not on autopilot. Real estate is not a machine. Well, some people think it's a machine, but that's a different segment. Uh, Real estate is not like an Autobot where things are working with a machine and a robot and AI. We're all human doing this. So if your realtor is able to articulate who was a part of the transaction, and then they can also explain better to you the type of things that could go wrong. So those two kind of go hand in hand. Okay. Next is the common mistakes that people make, and that could be the mistake of the buyer, agent, lender, or whoever's involved in the transaction. What are some of the common mistakes? So that's a totally different question from what are the common things that can go wrong. What are the common mistakes that people make? And the mistake is like really a misconception, some oversight, things like that. That could lead to things going wrong, but you also want to ask your realtor, with those mistakes, how do you overcome? Or how do you prevent those mistakes? Or how do you try to be proactive so that those mistakes actually don't happen? Again, there's so many different hands in the pot. Nothing can sometimes, deter something from happening, but we have to make sure that we put up our best effort, because it is our fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of our clients. Okay? Also, you want to know, who else have they worked with in the past? Can they offer you a review or a testimonial? And that's something that I'm working to be better on. I get a lot of praise in private, but I don't have my reviews or testimonials like out for the world to see, but I'm going to get better with that. But yeah, what would the other clients say about them? Because do they communicate well? Do they fall off the transaction? I actually have had an experience where I had the buyer in the transaction, and the seller was an elderly lady, and I was literally going to her house to get documents signed. That's just how I work. That's how I roll. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that this deal gets done. Outside of I'm not going to do anything unethical or anything or step outside my guidelines or my boundaries. But if I have to go to your house because you're an elderly person and you're not keen on technology, then that's what I'm just going to do. But anyway, I went and saw her many times, and I had plenty of conversations with her because as I'm reaching out to her agent, they're not being very responsive. And we were having time is of the essence all the time in real estate. So I was going over to her house trying to get things signed, and at the closing table, when she realized the commission that I was receiving, she was mad. She was upset. She wanted me to get paid more. She wanted her agent to get paid less. And it was all because of the experience that I provided her. And she wasn't even my buyer. She was not even my client. She was the seller, and I was not even representing her. So that speaks volumes about my testimony. Also, I've had a transaction where I was the listing agent. I sold the house. The buyers who actually purchased the house actually ended up not having to move into the home. They actually ended up staying where they were relocating from. And they actually came and wanted me to represent them to resell that same house. They didn't even choose their initial realtor who represented them as the buyer. They chose me to represent them selling the same house that they had just purchased with a different agent. So things like that make a difference, y'all. I can go on about these different types of stories, but you just want to make sure that your agent maybe can offer you some of those types of stories, or offer you some types of those testimonials, or even put you in touch with someone that you've worked with so they can get a firsthand, hear it straight from the horse's mouth, testimonial about how you work. So again, You want to make sure that the realtor that you choose, the real estate agent that you choose, is right for you. No big name, no big glam, nobody walking around with makeup on and red bottoms or driving a Porsche. Like, so what? We have to make sure that we're representing you, and you want to make sure that you're being well represented. Okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. This has been the Homegirl Tuesdays at 10. I'm finishing up this segment on why you should vet your agent and how. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. Let's get to it.